Hello, my friend. Today I'm going to share how I created this artwork titled Presence. This painting manifests the feeling of being present, of being in the moment, doing what we love. Because I'm a figurative artist, I rely on my model a lot, and I'm looking for a specific pose that looks unusual, beautiful, and communicates a feeling. I take a lot of pictures outdoors by the ocean, and then I look through them in Photoshop and sketch out a few images that I think might work well in my painting. Because I do leafing, I have to plan the image from the start, and after processing the leaf, I begin painting in full color. When I begin painting the face, I'm thinking of values more than of a specific color, because the skin tones have very subtle shifts in values, and I start by blocking in the darkest areas that I see, and then I mark where I have a few highlights, and after that I basically try to close the gap between the darks and the highlights. I spend a lot of time developing the facial features. I think the eyes are the most important elements in the face. My first layer always looks quite rough, but this is a block-in stage, and I will develop the details on top of this layer. It's a lot harder to paint the skin tones when we don't have a direct separation between the light and the dark, meaning that the highlights and shadows are not very strong. And that's why, as an artist, I have to rely on my previous experiences painting the skin tones, painting the anatomy, and I'm looking for very subtle shifts between the values and color temperature as well. The skin tones constantly shift from cool to warm to cool again, and this is what I'm looking for when I'm painting the skin. Because I'm working in oil, I do the leafing as my first step. Actually, it's totally possible to do the leafing after having the initial layer done in acrylic paint, because the glue and processing of the leaf involves using water soluble materials. So if you decide painting in acrylics, you could do the underpainting and then do the leafing, but because I'm doing it in oil paint, I have to do the leafing first and then paint around the leaf. It is difficult because the leaf loses its shine instantly if any kind of paint goes over it or if I touch it in any way. So it requires a lot of trial and error doing this. The initial block-in is done and my painting is totally dry. I apply a very thin coat of linseed oil, spread it around, not touching the leaf, and I'm ready to paint over it. It gives me a little bit of gloss. It also makes the paint flow a lot easier, and it also gives an extra dimension to the paint, because when the paint is applied thinly, it gives a translucent effect, and it's different from the opaque application of paint. Now it's a lot easier to apply paint and to blend it as well. New colors glide on very smoothly, and it aids to my painting process. And while I was working on painting the hair and the entire figure, I was thinking how I could fuse the female figure with the background even more, and it affected the softness and roughness of the edges. I wanted to blend some of the edges more than others. While painting the hair, I'm going through the same process. I mark the darkest areas where I see them. Usually it's close to the neck, and I also have a few darker areas at the top of the head, and then I mark the highlights, and then I close the gap between the two poles by mixing the colors and making the transitions between the darks and the lights. Only after that it makes sense to make a few details by taking a very thin brush, a liner brush, and making single strokes to describe the whispery hairs. I wanted to fuse the figure with the background. That's why I made the dress of the same color as my background, and I painted both the figure and the background at the same time to keep the color consistent. When I paint, I have this experience of very deep peace and calm and a feeling of joy. And I hope that this painting shows all these feelings. And if you decide to buy this painting, just let me know. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.